The night dances. The night pirouettes. The night takes a break. The night wants you to go home now. The night thinks you should leave its studio. Seriously, you're starting to creep out the night. The night will stalk you until you leave. Welcome, students. Welcome to Night Vale High. The Night Vale basketball team has a home game today against our rivals, the Desert Bluffs. We ask that you get your heat-seeking water balloons and a rigid sharp binder plastic ready to strike. Remember our motto, if you think they're best, you're bluffing. We now bring you a word from our artists here at Night Vale High. Colors are pretty cool, but red, and always red, will be a part of us here in Night Vale. Not to say it's better. I'm not to saying anything of the other colors in the first place. I'm simply stating that red is a color in everyday life, bloodstones, street peddlers, pizza from Big Rico's. The color of your flesh when presented with long, blonde, beautiful hair. Well, I can assure you, students, that was definitely more than a word, and I will have a talk with the artists of this school and their secret occult they have made under the bleachers in our gym, and just for the record here, it will contain more than just one word. As we settle in for our study sessions tonight, I can't help but think you will have many distractions. One being, what is trending right now, and what is the latest rice everyone's wearing these days? Well, boys and girls, becoming distracted is okay, because I, Cecily, will be here to drag you back to reality and shove your face in a book and say study. Or I could answer those questions you've been having. Leggings are now being replaced with pants, as it seems girls finally admired that, oh wow, these are actually warm, and oh no, it's just way too cold outside for this though. Which makes no sense because today it is 98 degrees. Though most girls changing back into pants are popular, and because they are of the lizard species, we can assume it's because they are cold-blooded. Rice was never a fashion and never will be, so please don't ever start that trend in fear you will look like a human California roll, okay? Don't. I say this because with all of the level-headed people in our town, I know there has to be one weirdo out there who will think, hey, this is a good idea. I should try this. I mean, wow, rice. I mean, do what you want. You're bound to get sacrificed for wearing small food anyway. The ban on wheat has left lunch even more unbearable. All of the imaginary corn was slightly side-cooked. This is opposed to under or overcooked. Obviously, if you're interested, though, in what side, it was the top one. This corn without bread can tend to be bland and uneventful. As before, when combined with bread, would do a little dance in a circus act like those previews before drive-ins. Despite these errors, the school has decided to still serve it today, along with apple skins, because the red is the only necessary part, and whole milk. Alright, the basic things aside, let's go to some special topics now, shall we? That new transfer student, I am still not allowed to release her name, and to come out and say it would be risky. So instead, let's see, I'll say this. The first letter of her name looks like this riddle. The top half of 5, the second half of 7, and the bottom half of 2. That said, it was yesterday in Treg. I was assigned a seat right next to the very blonde-haired girl. She said nothing, of course. She just looked at her notes and practiced not screaming, which she did pretty well. Well, at first she only screamed once when I sat next to her. Which, by the way, boys and girls, is kind of rude. I'm not a scary person, and my black hair doesn't mean I am a pyromaniac as many assume. I swear I could still count the fires that I have started on my fingers and toes and other appendages. I don't need a notebook with tallies yet. but it's no reason to scream. Anyway, in an attempt to be her friend, I tried to braid her hair, as is normal for our female friendship ritual, but she flinched and moved away from me and said, "Nope," and this made me sad. We got back to Trig, and I silently wiggled my ears in disapproval of my situation. Had rested on my desk, staring at that really shiny thing around her neck. Night Vale, I don't know about you, but lately we've been hearing a lot of new and different interns on Cecil's show lately, and, well, they keep coming and going, which can only make me think of one thing. Cecil is really popular, and they must kill each other and fight over being his intern. I mean, that only makes sense, right? I don't know, but I think I should have an intern. Maybe I'll ask the school board. They said there isn't allowed to be more than one person in this club, though, because they, something about mind control, and that I was the only one that was sterilized and secure for broadcasting. Now that I think about it, that actually makes me more concerned than it did at the time, which I don't even know why I didn't react at the time. What was I doing? I must have not had my coffee yet. Decaf, of course. My mom doesn't let me have any caffeine. Moving on. Today in Night Vale, a whole new crop of oranges was suggested that they appeared, but by the time we all got out of school, well, they weren't there. We were told that they would all be in the grocery store, and when we went to go get some, everything was just empty, with a bunch of signs said recalled for mild blinking and non-existence, which confused us, made us angry, sparked our hormones, and then we all went home singing very emo songs. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd sure enjoy a glass of orange juice, and I had missed Cecil's broadcast that night, so I didn't hear if he had any explanations as to what happened to those oranges. Well, I'm gonna stick with my apple skins. The region's midterm exams are coming up, and students are reminded that if you want to study without any distractions, it is best that you first yell into the late tube about all of the things you wish that weren't real. The school's taking suggestions. Finals aren't coming up till the end of the year, so there is no reason to talk about those. Now, lunch today seems to be the same, but I just got a report that said lunch changed, but I'm reading it, and it's the same as what I said earlier. I really need an intern. Maybe I can ask that blonde-haired girl. Whatever her fear of me is, I'm sure she can get over it. Okay, so, now that I look at this again, it looks like there is a change. There is an ice cream cup, added to those who have rabies due to Mr. Steinberg's mix-up test the past, week. Wow, okay. Apparently you have to have rabies and you have to be popular. What a bummer. Ladies and gentlemen, just a moment. I do have somebody who is knocking at the closet door. I can't see who it is because it's a closet and there's no windows, but just give me a moment, would you? Hello? Okay. Well, not really, but, alright, well, thanks, I appreciate it, bro. Okay, so I just had this guy who is in my U.S. history class that, well, we're not really friends, but he's kind of sketchy, so I feel like he should be on my friend repertoire if I'm going to be in this whole radio business. Now, back to the news. Sorry for being so unprofessional back there, Night Vale. Well, the more reports on, students, and I would like to tell you that, no, I am not going to sit here and talk about the winter ball and how my shoes are so cute, though. Please stop sending in those types of requests. I am not going to sit here and talk about a single student. Thank you. In better, more interesting news, the mayor showed up at our school today. Yes, the same mayor who resigned from her position. She came to us and told us that if a 5-headed dragon were to show itself in our building, we were to acknowledge him, stop acknowledging him, acknowledge him another time, then turn around and walk away from it. Now, this is kind of offensive for certain personal reasons, but I will repeat it since mandatory news from a mayor is mandatory news, and I'm just obligated to say it. So, there's that. On a less painful side, Drama Club has decided that, yeah, it's a little too dramatic in here. We're gonna, get out of here. Maybe go to, I don't know, a store. It's just way too crowded. I don't want to go home yet, but this is just too much. I don't actually understand what their motives are because they're a class. I don't understand how a subject can go to a store, but then again, this is Night Vale. So, with that said, Anime Club has been announcing that it is working with the tall man in the tan jacket, saying that they know exactly what his briefcase is for, which is suspicious because, yes, a lot of random plot twists happen in anime, and I guess that could make you good at solving things, but anime is very random, and I'm not sure that a bunch of high schoolers would certainly know what that man is doing. They keyed in that this man is very hard to remember, much like every single thing that happens in a very long webcomic. So, that said, I think I remember seeing that man too walking out of the building the other day. He stopped, said hi, but I can't remember anything else. I know he stayed in my room for a good couple of minutes, at least staring at me, if anything. Well, Night Vale, other than the rabies being spread around now by somebody else's test, which I still think is Mr. Steinberg, who accidentally gave those papers to somebody else. Why does he have an obsession with putting very dangerous chemicals and or sicknesses and or diseases and or viruses on these papers? How does he do it? We'll never know, or we might know next Tuesday. It depends. Well, those tests aside, the school board has announced that the new computer that they had just recently bought will be sold to instead buy books that aren't broken. This comes to a shock to all of us, as all of the broken books still work if you wear metal gloves and stand back a bit. The school is usually stingy with its money, and we weren't necessarily expecting budgets so easily spent, sold, spent, sold. It's very confusing, and we will sit in our corners, stare at our books, and cry a bit before we open them. As is custom for reading a book at my age and at most people's ages at this school. More word from that new transfer student. I was just thinking about her recently, and I could have sworn I saw her write her name down on her paper in trig class. I know it started with a certain letter, and that's why I was able to key into what that was, but I think I remember her real name now. Well, as I will take responsibility as making sure that this girl sits with me at lunch and does not get vaporized, Zoe, if you're listening, you're welcome to sit with me at lunch. And if you were listening from the beginning, you should be my new intern. Well, I hope you consider. Anyway, no pressure. Just 1,000 tons of the earth and their gravity pushing upon our fleshy meat bodies that are hooked to the ground every day, but that's always normal, so besides that pressure. Well, Night Vale, that is most of what I have to say, and it looks like all, since I kind of wrote on a very awkward piece of paper, and now it looks like I'm running out of room. I ran out of room, so there. Yeah, it looks like I don't have any more news. But, of course, so many exciting things happen here in our high school that I'm sure something will happen in the next 5 minutes or so, and or next 10 minutes or so. Oh, look at that. Just got a text. All right. It does seem that we have Somebody entering our school. Well, Night Vale, this is important. I don't want to miss a talent scout. This might mean that I could be considered for an internship at the news radio station. Okay. Well, Night Vale, I must leave you now. Students, boys and girls, thank you for joining me, and good evening, Night Vale High School. Good evening.
Welcome to Night Vale High is an unofficial predecessor to the original podcast, Welcome to Night Vale, and is a non-profit, entertainment-only based project, aimed only to further increase the popularity of the original podcast itself. We in no way claim rights to Night Vale and any of its brilliant ideas, music, or art. Also, a disclaimer upon any character, maybe things that might end up I might get sued for, so I don't want that to happen. Anyway, if you enjoyed this gender bent unofficial spin-off, please write us a review. It really means a lot to us.